Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Each ancient tomb is like a massive, time capsule, sealing within its confined space a person's past glory and wealth. Love and hatred, joy and sorrow, all of life's emotional richness. In 1957, in the western part of Xi'an, China, archaeologists discovered a tomb dating back to the Sui dynasty. This tomb was not only exceptionally well preserved, but also the most luxurious and highest-ranking Sui dynasty burial unearthed to date. During the excavation, numerous exquisite burial items were found. Resplendent necklaces inlaid with gold and jade, intricately designed gold and silver jewelry, crystal-clear white porcelain vessels, and even many exotic artifacts from distant Persia. This tomb was more than just a resting place for the deceased. It resembled a miniature world of prosperity, a dreamland brimming with splendor and luxury. From these objects of ultimate refinement, one can't help but imagine that the tomb's owner must have held an extraordinary status. Perhaps a noble queen, or even an emperor. However, the final archaeological findings were astonishing. This grand and majestic tomb actually belonged to a young girl of the Sui dynasty who died early in life, Li Jingxun. She only spent 9 short years in this world. Yet it seemed she had already experienced all the beauty and affection life could offer. Though her life was brief, it was surrounded by endless love and devotion. Perhaps she shone too brightly, so much so that even the heavens grew envious, and called her back far too soon. According to historical records, Li Jingxun's childhood name was Li Shaohai, Little Li. This nickname sounds playful, sweet, and full of childish charm, instantly evoking the image of a beloved little girl. From this name, we can tell her family didn't have grand ambitions for her in terms of fame or fortune. They simply hoped she could grow up happy, carefree, and joyful. She was born in Chengji, Longxi, during a time of peace and prosperity. The Sui dynasty was at its peak, with no internal strife and no external threats, a good era for a tranquil life. While the name Li Shaohai may be unfamiliar to most, her family background was nothing short of royal elite. Her maternal great-grandfather was Emperor Guan of Sui, Yang Jian, the founding emperor of the dynasty. Her great-grandmother was the renowned Empress Zhuge Liang. Her grandfather was Emperor Xian of northern Zhou, Yuanyun. Her grandmother was Princess Yang Lihua, daughter of Emperor Guan of Sui. Her mother, Yuanyang, was a princess of northern Zhou. One could say she was born into extraordinary privilege. A noble girl carrying the royal bloodlines of both the northern Zhou and Sui dynasties. The love and care she received came not only from her parents, but also from her grandmother, Yang Lihua, with whom she shared a particularly deep bond. Yang Lihua was once the Empress Dowager of northern Zhou. After her father, Yang Jian, overthrew northern Zhou and established the Sui dynasty, she went from being the Empress Dowager of the previous regime to a princess of the new dynasty. She watched helplessly as her husband's empire was replaced by her father's, and her heart was filled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, she couldn't change the tide of history and had to accept reality. On the other, she inevitably felt resentment toward her father. Emperor Guan of Sui, aware of how much he had wronged his daughter, tried to make it up to her by giving her the best of everything. When arranging a marriage for Yang Lihua's daughter, Li Jingxun's mother, Yuanyang, he was especially attentive. Every day, he summoned hundreds of nobles to the palace for a kind of royal audition, seeking the most outstanding young man to be his grandson-in-law. Eventually, from among the masses, he chose the talented and handsome Li Min. To ensure this ideal son-in-law had a matching status, Emperor Guan even issued an imperial edict appointing Li Min to the prestigious position of Zhuge, pillar of the state. Li Min, who originally had no noble background, rose swiftly to power thanks to this royal marriage. The wedding was an extremely grand affair. Even though Yuan was a princess of a former dynasty, she received the highest honors and ceremonial treatment in her wedding under the new regime. Yang Lihua personally oversaw every detail to ensure her daughter would have a happy marriage. After the wedding, Li Min and Yuan lived in mutual respect and deep affection. Their love soon bore fruit, and their home was filled with joy. Their story became a beloved tale passed around the palace. Yet, after her daughter's marriage, Yang Lihua grew increasingly lonely. Widowed at a young age, she had long carried sorrow in her heart. Now that her daughter had her own family, she was left alone in the palace, feeling more desolate than ever. Emperor Wen once considered finding her another husband to help her start anew. But Yang Lihua gently declined the offer. In the year 600, Li Jingxun was born. To ensure her mother would no longer feel alone in the deep palace, Yuan brought her infant daughter into the palace to accompany Yang Lihua. This young girl became the sole comfort in her grandmother's later years. A gentle beam of light within the emotional world of the royal family. Thus, within the deep palace walls, the young Li Jingxun received nearly all of her grandmother's love and affection. Although she was not born a legitimate imperial princess, her treatment far exceeded that of most royal girls. From the moment Li Jingxun began to toddle, Yang Lihua was never far from her side, personally teaching her to walk and talk, and even instructing her in reading and composing poetry. Li Jingxun became the apple of Yang Lihua's eye. Granted everything she desired, gold necklaces and bracelets from Persia adorned her fair little arms and neck. Little animals carved from Hetian jade became her daily toys. Dressed in gold and silver, clad in silks and brocades, she lived more nobly than a real princess, despite not holding the title. But such affection did not last long. At the age of 9, Li Jingxun fell gravely ill. The illness struck suddenly, and even the imperial physicians were helpless. Everyone could only watch as the once lively little girl slowly faded away. On the first day of the 6th month in the 4th year of the Day reign, she passed away at Fenyang Palace. Just 9 years old. Even with all her power and influence, her grandmother could not save the beloved granddaughter she cherished most. For Yang Lihua, it was a devastating blow. Despite her grief, she bore the pain and personally oversaw the funeral arrangements, to allow her granddaughter to be buried and at peace as soon as possible. And to make future memorials easier, she chose to build the tomb within the royal Wanshan nunnery. Above the tomb chamber, a magnificent tower was specially constructed, in hopes that this auspicious location would bless her soul and guide her to paradise. The scale of Li Jingxun's tomb far surpassed her status. The burial chamber was designed in the form of a 9-ridged palace hall. Its walls were decorated with intricate carvings of rolling clouds, honeysuckle, and lotus motifs, and included pavilions and towers. The entire coffin itself resembled a miniature palace. The little girl lay quietly in the stone coffin. The silk and linen burial shroud that once covered her had long since decayed, her remains now resting peacefully in the center. In the confined space of less than 3 square meters, archaeologists discovered over 230 burial items, including a white jade bracelet inlaid with gold, a crystal hairpin, Persian-style gold ornaments, and a golden butterfly headdress set with pearls and gemstones, all reflecting the luxurious fashion of the time. Every detail embodied Yang Lihua's profound love and sorrow. She feared her granddaughter might suffer even the slightest discomfort in the afterlife. So she buried with her all the cherished toys and daily items from her short life. Not a single word of love was inscribed, yet love overflowed in every detail. Li Jingxun's tomb was like a miniature royal palace. As if only in such a grand resting place could the once lively, laughing little girl continue to live happily and adorably in another world. When archaeologists came upon this child's tomb, they were not only astonished by the treasures it held, but also deeply moved by the weight of the family's grief. These artifacts, which had slumbered for over 1,000 years, are now displayed in museums, showcasing not only the brilliance of Sui dynasty craftsmanship, but also telling the story of a 9-year-old girl's brief life, filled with immeasurable love. Among them, the most awe-inspiring piece is the gold necklace inlaid with pearls and gemstones, now housed in the National Museum of China. This necklace, with its exquisite craftsmanship and unique design, is considered one of the finest unearthed treasures. It is composed of 28 gold spheres, each containing a lustrous pearl inside. Most remarkable are the pendant stones, bloodstone and lapis lazuli, rare for their size and quality, nearly unmatched in the world. Also stunning is the golden butterfly headdress, clearly sized for a child. The golden butterfly appears lifelike, its wings seemingly ready to flutter and take flight, an exquisite piece of craftsmanship. But perhaps the most emotionally stirring burial item is the 7-lobed celadon water container. Scholars widely believe that this object embodies the family's deep yearning and love for Li Jingxun. Its 1 outer, 6 inner design symbolizes her life. A girl surrounded by love like the moon among stars. A life as short and radiant as a blooming flower. The epitaph contains only 370 characters, yet every word is steeped in blood and tears. It ends with the line, "All know life is but a bubble and illusion, why lament over long or short lives?" Highlighting the ephemeral nature of life, like a dream or a mirage. Even amidst grief, one can only accept her brief time on earth. The inscription reads, "The heavy frost falls by day, the blooming orchid fades in spring." She never reached the Tower of Music, yet was mourned like the fragrant Artemisia under heaven. This lively child, before she had a chance to grow up, withered like a flower. The epitaph reads like a poem, filled with the endless sorrow of her family. What makes the story even more tragic is that only a year later, her grandmother Yang Lihua passed away, overwhelmed by sorrow. Soon after, the Sui dynasty descended into political turmoil. Li Jingxun's father, Li Min, was executed on suspicion of treason. And her mother, Yuan, was forced to drink poison by Emperor Yang of Sui. History struck down like a merciless hammer. One cannot help but wonder, perhaps the heavens, out of pity, took Li Jingxun away early, sparing her from witnessing the human tragedies that followed. Her beautiful life was thus eternally frozen at the most radiant age, 9 years old. Later, during a protective excavation of her tomb, archaeologists discovered 4 chilling characters etched on one of the roof ridges: "Who opens this shall die." Beside the characters were traces of dried blood, though ancient and faded, they still seemed to pulse with a haunting, protective force. These 4 words were both a curse and a mournful safeguard. Because of this, Li Jingxun's tomb has been dubbed by some media outlets as China's first cursed tomb. In ancient times, tomb robbers deeply believed in fate, feng shui, and karmic retribution. It may have been the fear inspired by these words that preserved this modest 3-square-meter tomb intact for over 1,000 years. Perhaps those 4 characters were Yang Lihua's final act of defiance. A curse, the most venomous she could muster, cast to deter any future intruders. All for the sake of guarding her beloved granddaughter's eternal rest. She hoped that, even in another world, Li Jingxun could remain a cherished child, peaceful, serene, and undisturbed. As one historian commented, "The river of time flows steadily, life's journey is full of uncertainty. All we can do is, after recognizing the unpredictability of fate, learn to cherish each day we are given." Just like Li Jingxun, whose short yet brilliant life reminds us, though life may be brief, every moment is worthy of reverence. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone, and see you in the next time.